I'm a lifelong Windows user, but today I'm going to leave my comfort zone and try out something completely new, Linux. But before I step deeper into the world of Linux, I'm starting with a complete fundamental, the terminal. So in this video I will do a guide on the terminal and find out if I will master it or fail miserably. Let's begin. I will try to learn it with the help of this online guide here. It's called Linux Journey, and we're going to just get right into the command line here. So we're just going to find out if I can learn the terminal, at least the basics of it, with this guide here. Let's get right into it. This isn't the first time that I have used Linux. I have tried it out on a virtual machine and tested it for a little bit, so I know the basics of Linux. But as of now, the only commands that I know in the Linux terminal are sudo apt update, where we have to enter our password, and sudo apt upgrade. The first one downloads the new update packages and this one installs them. So this is all that I know, but otherwise I'm actually new to Linux. For the purpose of this video I'm using Ubuntu. I'm using the recent LTS release just because Ubuntu is one of the most popular Linux distros and I like how GNOME looks. Okay, so let's begin with this tutorial. The shell. The shell is basically a program that takes your commands from the keyboard and sends them to the operating system. Yeah, I already heard of bash. That bash is the program that we are going to use. Alright, let's start with the simple command. Echo hello world. Okay, so this is just going to return the text that I type in. So if I would echo subscribe, this would just say subscribe. So pretty simple. Try some other Linux commands and see what they output. Date. Okay, let's try date. Probably going to output the date. Alright, what is a wohami? Let's copy this one. Oh, okay, this just outputs my current username. Quiz. What should be outputted in the display when you type echo hello world? Yeah, that's not really difficult, it's just hello world. Correct answer. Continue. pwd, print working directory. Everything in Linux is a file. As you journey deeper into Linux, you will understand this, but for now, just keep in mind every file is organized in a directory tree. The first directory in the file system is named the root directory. The root directory has many folders in which you can store more folders and files. Here's an example of what the directory looks like. Okay, so if I understand this correctly, this here is the root folder. Then we have the bin folder here, which is from the root folder. Then we have file 1 and file 2 inside the bin folder. Then we have the etc folder, which is inside the root folder as well. These folders are also in the root folder. That's why this straight line is here. Yeah, that's how I understand it. Then inside bin we have these two files. Inside etc we have file 3, and in directory 1 we have file 4 and 5. What I don't really understand is why this here looks different from this here, but yeah, so let's continue with the tutorial. The location of these files and directories are referred to as paths. Okay, that path would look like this. Home, Pete, movies. Pretty simple. This is not really as different from Windows, but I like how this is written. Really good for idiots like me. Navigation of the file system is helpful if you want to know where you are and where you are going. Yeah. To see where you are, you can use the pwd command. This command means print working directory and it shows in which directory you are. Alright, so let's give it a try. We're going to open the terminal, make this a bit larger, and we're going to type pwd, and we are in home/ravenfood. So let's look how it would look in the GUI. Here we have our hard drive, and where is the home folder? Here we have the home folder, and we are inside this folder here. Alright, okay, so this makes sense. Quiz. How do I find what directory I'm currently in? pwd. Let's go. Correct answer. So let's continue. cd, change directory. Now that you know where you are, let's see if we can move around the file system a bit. There are two different ways to specify a path, with absolute and relative path. The absolute path. This is a path from the root directory. The root directory is commonly shown as /. Okay, so here, every time it starts with a slash, it means you're starting from the root directory. Alright, so the root directory is this here, what we have seen inside here. The Ubuntu folder basically. Relative path. This is the path from where you are currently in a file system. If it was in a location, home/pete/documents, and you wanted to get into a directory inside documents called taxes, I don't have to specify the whole path from root like home pete documents taxes. I can just go taxes / instead. Okay, that makes sense. So if you already know you are in this directory, for example, and you would know inside, let's test this out actually, our home folder inside Ravenfood, you have the documents folder. I could just type cd and documents, and I would be inside documents. And if we then print the current directory, alright, it worked as I expected it would, but it would also be the same if I would go into documents and then just copy the directory, change directory and add in this path, and I would be in the same documents folder. Alright, so now we tested both variants. Let's continue. It can get pretty tiring navigating with absolute and relative paths all the time. Luckily, there are some shortcuts to help you out. Current directory. This is the current directory you are in. That's just a dot. Takes you to the directory above your current. So how does this work? If I set change directory and then make 2 dots, where am I now? I am in home/Ravenfood. Okay, that's actually really simple, but how would that work the other way? If I would go to change directory and go back into documents, and if I now change directory to Ravenfood, why not? Do I have to go to home/Ravenfood? Oh, I forget the command. cd home/Ravenfood. Okay, and then I'm in the directory. So to go back, I normally have to type in the complete path, if I have understood that correctly. What happens if I go to cd and 2 dots again? Now I'm in the home directory. Okay, and then I go change directory back again, and now I'm in the root folder. And this slash shows that I'm in the root folder. So let's continue. First we have to test the first command. Home directory. This directory defaults to your home directory, such as home/pete. So if I go back inside here, this should take me to Ravenfood. Okay, yes, I'm in the Ravenfood directory. And this goes to the previous directory I was just at. So this should take me to the root directory. Yes, so you just have to learn these shortcuts here and you will have a much faster workflow. Exercises. Run the cd command without any flags. Where does it take you? That's interesting. Okay, it just takes me to the user folder, and that probably every time. So if I change the directory to the desktop, for example, and I just change directory, this automatically takes me to the home directory, to my user folder every time. Okay, that's good to know. What is the quiz? If you were in home/pete/pictures and wanted to go to home/pete, what's a good shortcut to use? Okay, probably cd and this one here. Yeah, that's the correct answer. So let's continue. Alright, let's do list directories. Now that you know how you move around the system, how do we figure out what is available to us? Well, we can use the wonderful ls command. The ls command will list directories and files in the current directory by default. However, you can specify which path you want to list the directories of. So ls and ls home pete. Okay, so now let's test it. We are in home/Ravenfood, so we're just going to test the ls command. And as we can see here, we have desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, public, snap, templates and videos. So yeah, we have these folders here as well too in the GUI, so it's practically the same. So this was pretty simple. Not all files in a directory will be visible. File names that start with dot are hidden. You can view them, however, with the ls command and with -a flag to it. A for all. Okay, let's try it. I don't know if any files are hidden here. Let's do ls a. Actually, we have some hidden files here. Cache and config. Interesting. A lot of hidden files in my folder, which I can't see. Is there a way to see them with the GUI? Show hidden files. Oh, we can show the hidden files here. And now we have all hidden files which were here. We can also see inside here. Interesting. Okay, so let's continue. There is also one more useful flag, L for long. This shows a detailed list of files in a long format. This will show you detailed information, file permissions, number of links, owner name, owner group, file size, timestamps of last modification, and file directory name. So I think for that, let's just create a file and try it out. How do I create a new file? Do I have it simple? Yeah, let's try the text editor. New document, let's just write test inside here. How do I save this now? Control S? Yes, with Control S. Documents, let's just title it test as well and save. Now we have our test inside here and now we're going to move there. Let's go to change directory and documents. Now we can do the ls with the a flag, only test inside here, and now we're going to do the ls which has the l flag. Okay, what do we see here now? I think this means that we have one file inside here. This is probably the owner of the file, then the timestamp at which it was created, and the title of the file. So now we learned all about the ls command. Commands have things called flags or arguments or options, whatever you want to call it, which then all do different things. See how we added -a and -l? Well, you can add them both together with -la. Okay, so you can just combine both. I would just say let's go back to the home directory and then we're going to do ls-la, and now we have all the hidden files and also have all the details on the hidden files. Alright, exercises. Run ls with different flags and see what output you receive. We will try it in the documents folder. ls-r recursively list directory contents. ls-r, ls-t sort by modification time, newest first. So yeah, this will probably don't change anything if I go ls-t. What command would you use to see hidden files? ls-a. Correct answer. Continue. Touch. Let's learn how to make some files. A very simple way is to use the touch command. Touch allows you to create new empty files. Touch my super duper file and boom, a new file. But which file type is this going to make? Maybe a text file by default. Let's go to change directory and go into documents. And then we're going to touch my super duper file. And it probably made a file list, and we have my super duper file and test. Which file type has this made now? Okay, it's just a text file, I guess, but it's actually nothing. It's like, what even is this? What if I do something here? Is it now a text file officially? Save. I don't know, this doesn't have the file ending displayed, but it is a text file. Properties, plain text document. I don't know why this has the file ending displayed and this not. What's the reason for that? Rename. This doesn't have a file ending. What if I add the file ending? This changed nothing. So maybe if a file doesn't have a file ending, by default it's a txt file. That could be the case. What if I do touch file.pdf? Is it a PDF now? Save. Unable to open document. File type plain text is not supported. Oh, now it's a PDF, but it doesn't work. Touch is also used to change timestamps on existing files or directories. Give it a try, do an ls-l on the file and note the timestamp, then touch that file and it will update the timestamp. Okay, so let's try that. So let's do ls-l and we're going to see that this one which we made first here, test.txt, has the timestamp 11:12 p.m. So we are just going to do touch, copy this one, ls-l again, and yes, we updated the timestamp. Alright, quiz. How do I create a file called myfile? Touch myfile. Correct answer. Continue. File. In the previous lesson we learned about touch. Did you notice that the file name didn't conform to a standard naming like you've probably seen in other operating systems like Windows? Yes. Normally you would expect the file to call banana JPEG and expect a JPEG picture file. In Linux, file names aren't required to represent the contents of the file. You can create a file called funny.gif that isn't actually a GIF. Interesting. Okay. To find out what kind of file a file is, you can use the command. It will show you a description of the file's contents. Let's try it with this here. So I will just copy the name of this file. Now we're going to open my terminal, change directory to documents. And now let's try file and we paste the file name here. It's a ASCII text, whatever that is. Let's look it up. ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. It's a character encoding standard that represents text using numerous values. Quiz. What command can you use to find the file type of a file? File. Correct answer. Let's continue. Cat. We're almost done navigating files. But first, let's learn how to read a file. A simple command to use is the cat command, short for concatenate. Okay, so it has nothing to do with cats. It not only displays file contents, but it can combine multiple files and show you the output of them. It's not good for viewing large files and it's only meant for short content. There are many other tools that we use to view larger text files and we'll discuss in the next lesson. So let's try it with this file as well. We have my super duper text file here. Subscribe you fool. And we're going to save this. So let's try cat. Okay, so it works as I expected. It just outputs subscribe you fool, which you should all do. It's very important. So does this only work for text files? Probably. Let's download an image, downloads and save. And now we're going to change directory to downloads ls. This here, cat. Okay, this is what happened. Yeah, so this is what happens if you try to display a picture. Not really human readable language. Okay, what is a good way to see the contents of a file? Correct answer. Continue. The less command. If you are viewing text files larger than a simple output, less is more. There is actually a command called more that does something similar, so this is ironic. The more command in Linux is a command line utility that allows users to view text files one page at a time. But what's the difference to less? The main difference between more and less is that less command is faster because it does not load the entire file at once and allows navigation through the file using page up and page down keys. Go ahead and look at the contents of a file with the less. Once you are in the less command, you can actually use other keyboard commands to navigate the file. Okay, so let's try it out. We need a larger file. Let's just copy the Wikipedia article of Linux. Okay, so I'm just going to copy all of this here. Okay, this should be enough. Touch, call it Linux wikipedia.txt. Okay, so we have Linux wikipedia.txt here. So I'm going to open the file explorer, open the file and just paste everything inside of here. And I'm going to delete this upper part. So I'm going to save the text and now we're going to try the less command. Less, let's just copy this here and paste. Okay, so let's full size this. Oh, I can go through like this. Okay, so I can just scroll down. Can I do it with a mouse wheel? Yes, I can also do it. All right, so let's go back here and let's just compare it with the file. Let's go all the way up. So yeah, it's basically the same. The only difference is it's in a terminal here and here we have it in the Linux text editor. I actually don't really see where this text editor is different at all actually. I don't know how to write instead of here. That's the only thing. Use the following command to navigate through less. Q. Use to quit out of less and go back into your shell. So if I do Q, just closes again. What are the other commands? Page up, page down. Yeah, we already did this. G moves you back to the beginning of a text file and puts me back to the beginning. And capital letter G moves me to the end. It's actually stating end here. That's interesting. Something that is probably not in the text editor. Yes, so I'm going to press G again and I'm back up. Slash search. You can search for specific text inside the text document, prefacing the words you want to search with a slash. Okay, so we're going to do search and do a slash and try Ubuntu. Okay, didn't find anything. I see the word open source here, so I'm just going to, or maybe let's just do source slash search source. Pattern not found. What am I doing wrong? If you need a little help about how to use less value in less, use help. So I'm going to try that. There are a lot of comments. Let's go to searching page here. Slash pattern. Oh, the only thing that I have to do is write the word after the slash. I don't have to write search. Let's do source again. Now it actually found source. Oh, that makes sense. Alright, okay. So now I can try to search for Ubuntu. And it actually found Ubuntu. It doesn't show me how many of the same words it's found. Exercises. We did all of this, but actually I want to try the more command. More. See what it changes. Oh, it doesn't load anything. Okay, the difference is that it doesn't load the whole page. I have to load it with my arrow keys. If I press down, it loads more of it. Why is the other command called less than? The more command ironically has less functions as it seems. Or can I also search something here? Lines. No. Okay, so the less command seems more useful. Okay, so let's do the quiz. How do you quit out of a less command? I will just press Q. Correct answer. Continue. History. In your shell, there is a history of the commands that you previously entered. You can actually look through these commands. This is quite useful when you want to find and run a command you used previously without actually typing it in again. So let's just try it out directly. History. Alright, interesting. This actually shows everything that I did here. Quite useful command. Want to run the same command you did before, just hit the arrow up. Want to run a previous command without typing it again, use 2 exclamation marks. Do. Okay, it just ran the history command, of course. So what if I do, I don't know, and if I do 2 exclamation marks, just does the same. And if I press the arrow up, just types it here. This is actually like in Minecraft. When you like enter a command in Minecraft and you want to do the previous one that you entered, you can just press the arrow key up and down. Yeah, this is an interesting similarity. Or maybe this is just how commands work in general. Probably that. Another history shortcut is the Control R. This is the reverse search command. If you hit Control R and you start typing parts of the command you want, it will show you matches and you can just navigate through them by hitting Control R again. Let's try Control R and search for touch, and then it touched the file. Alright, and I actually have it from here. Okay, so let's do Control R again and let's try cat, and then I'm going to navigate through them and you can see everything that I did here. Our terminal is getting a little bit cluttered now, so let's do a little cleanup. So this command I actually already knew, so let's do clear. And everything is gone. While we're talking about useful things, one of the most useful features in any command line environment is tab completion. If you start typing the beginning of a command, file, directory, etc., hit the tab key, it will autocomplete based on what it finds in the dictionary. Okay, so let's try it out. Let's do cd and raven boot /documents, and then we're going to do ls, and we have this file, and let's try touch. And now we're going to type my soup, and now it should autocomplete it with tab. Yes, it does. Alright, well, let's continue and do the quiz. What is the command to clear the terminal? Pretty obvious, it's clear. Continue. CP, copy. Let's start making some copies of these files. Much like copy and pasting files in other operating systems, the shell gives us an even simpler way of doing that. Okay, this here does CP my cool file, and this is probably the location in which it should copy it, which would remove the extra step of like going in here, going to documents, getting this file and copying it over, and then going to another folder to paste it inside. It would just reduce the step to just one, which is really useful. My cool file is the file you want to copy, and this is the destination. Alright, you can copy multiple files and directories as well as use wildcards. What are wildcards? A wildcard is a character that can be substituted for a pattern-based selection, giving you more flexibility with searches. The wildcard of the wildcard. words. It's used to represent all single characters or any string. This is used to represent one character, and these are used to represent any character within the brackets. And the example is cp star and .jpg home Pete pictures, and this will copy all files with the JPEG extension in your current directory to the pictures directory. Okay, so let's try this out. What's happening here? What have I done? Why is this happening? I need help. What the hell? I can just make an infinite amount of these windows. I think I need to restart my VM. This doesn't look good. Let's restart. Restart. Okay, we're back. Now everything is back to normal. So now let's try it. Change directory into documents. Now we're in documents. Now we're going to do an ls. We see all these files here. And now we're going to try cp star and type .txt. And then we're going to move all of them into home / ravenfood / let's put them in the music folder. Music. Okay, now we need to change directory into home / ravenfood music. Now we're inside of music. Let's do an ls now. And we have all our files here. And I could also just copy one file, this Linux Wikipedia text, downloads, and let's do an ls, and we have a Linux Wikipedia.txt. So now why is this in purple? This is strange. Why is that? ls-all. A useful command is to use the R flag. This will recursively copy the files and directories within a directory. Try to do a cp on a directory that contains a couple of files to your documentary folder. Didn't work? Well, because I need to... Okay, so you need this -r to copy over full directories, I guess. And we're going to do cp-r documents home / downloads cd here, cd to downloads, and do an ls. And we also have the documents folder inside. Now let's do a cd to documents folder and do an ls, and we have all files inside, so it worked perfectly fine. So with -r you can get over an entire folder to another place. One thing to note, if you copy over a file from a directory that has the same file name, file will be overwritten with whatever you're trying to copy over. This is no bueno if you have a file that you don't want to get accidentally overwritten. You can use the -i flag to prompt you before overwriting a file. What flag do you need to specify to copy over a directory? -r. Correct answer. Continue. mv, move. Used for moving files and also renaming them. Quite similar to the copy command in terms of flags and functionality. Okay, so you can rename files like this. Move, old file, new file. Okay, so if I have the file here, so this should be the file, and change the file name and just write the file name there. This just changes the name. And if I do mv file2 and then put a directory behind, then it moves the file. Let's try it. I think it worked that way. So we're going to open our file explorer. In documents we have this test.txt, so we're going to change directory and go into documents, and now we're going to do mv test.txt, and we're going to name it an, I don't know, bird. And if I then do ls, this file is called bird.txt. And now let's try to open the file again. ls bird.txt, and we have test inside here. So next we're going to try to move a file. Okay, so you can move a file into a different directory, and to move more files than one, we just have to add 2 files. So we're going to try it directly using 2 files. This should work the same way as here, so we're going to try 2. We are going to try to move bird.txt and Linux Wikipedia.txt. So we're going to do an ls. I'm going to copy the file names here, do Ctrl+Shift+C, mv, paste root home ravenfood /videos, and enter cd go into the videos folder, ls, and both of the files are there. And if I look in the documents folder, do an ls, these two files are not here anymore. Alright, you can rename directories as well. Okay, so this works the same way as files, so we're just going to skip it. Like copy, if you move a file or directory, it will overwrite anything in the same directory. Okay, so actually let's try this. We have this bird.txt here, and I'm going to go into documents and going to name, let's do it with the terminal, and going to rename this file to bird.txt mv and name it in bird.txt. Now it should be named that way. And we can see here inside of this document we have subscribe you fool, which you of course should do. And now we're going to try to move the file -i bird.txt videos. Oh, okay, now it's asking me if I want to overwrite the file which is already there. Without the I flag, it would have just overwritten it directly. So this is good to use if you're copying some files over. Maybe if you have a large folder and don't know if there are some files maybe that have the same file name. But what do I do now? Do I just do an N? Like when it asks me if I want to download stuff from the sudo apt install command. So let's look, we're in videos now. This here is the file there, and the bird.txt is still in the documents folder. Now I want to try the same command again and try to do a yes. How do I confirm this? Oh, okay, I confirm it with Y for yes, and it's in the videos folder and it is overwritten, so the original file isn't there. Alright, let's say you did want to move a file to overwrite the previous one. You can also make a backup of that file and it will just rename the old version with the A. Alright, this seems pretty obvious how this works, so I'm not going to try it now. Quiz. How do you rename a file called cat to dog? I do a mv cat and dog. Check answer. Correct answer. So let's continue. mkdir. Make directory. We're going to need some directories to store the files that we've been working on. The mkdir command, make directory, is useful for that. It will create a directory if it doesn't already exist. You can even make multiple directories at the same time. Let's make a directory in the documents folder. We're going to call it subscribers and likes, and we're going to make those directories. Now we're going to do an ls, and we have the directories here, and then we're going to do a cd and go into likes, which you should all do, should like the video. And now we're in documents/likes, and here we could do everything that we wanted now. So it's very simple. We got that. We can also create subdirectories at the same time with the -p flag, parent flag. So we're doing make directory, parent flag, books, Hemingway, and favorites. Make directory inside here in the likes folder and do shares and comments. Oh, I forgot the flag. That makes sense. ls. We see shares. We're going to change directory into shares, and we're going to do an ls again. We have comments here. Change directory into comments, and we're inside comments. Alright, we have the quiz here. What command is used to make a directory? Make directory, check answer, correct answer. Now we have the remove command. Now I think we have too many files. Let's remove some. To remove files, you can use the rm, the remove command. This command is used to delete files and directories. We're going to go inside the videos folder because I don't think we need all of these files in here. And this bird file has gotten pretty useless now. So we're going to do the remove command. Just do remove bird.txt. That should be enough. And the file is gone. Take caution when using rm. There is no magical trash can from which you can retrieve removed files. Once they are gone for good, so be careful. So the trash can, which we have here in the dash, only works if we delete files directly from the file manager. The -f or force option tells rm to remove all files whether they are write protected or not, without prompting the user, as long as you have appropriate permissions. Okay, so but how do you write protect a file? Adding the I flag, like many of the other commands will give you a prompt on whether you want to actually remove files or directories. Okay, so this -i flag always asks me if I want to do something. rm-r directory. You can't just remove a directory by default. You need to add the r flag, remove all files and any subdirectories it may have. You can remove a directory with the rmdir command. Do these two things here do the same or do they do different things? I'm not really sure. Okay, of course we asked ChatGPT. This remove directory command here only works if the folder is empty, and this here works when there are contents inside the folder. Alright, so we can try both. Change directory into the documents folder. Then we're going to do an else here. We have the likes and subscribers folder. I know that the subscribers folder should be empty, so we're going to try rmdir. And it's gone. So in the likes we have a subdirectory, but I'm also going to add a file, so we'll change directory into likes, and we're going to change directory into the shares folder. So first let's create a file inside that folder. So we're going to do touch create file.txt. So now we are going to go one folder back, so change directory and two dots, and we're back in likes. And now we're going to try to remove this. So first I'm going to try what happens if I now do the remove directory and then do shares. Failed to remove shares, directory is not empty. So now we're going to do the remove -r, and we're going to remove the shares folder. And the shares folder is gone. If I now do an ls, there is nothing there. Okay, we completed this as well now. So we're going to continue with the quiz, which is pretty easy now. How do you remove a file called myfile? rm myfile. Correct answer, so let's continue. Find. With all these files we have on the system, it can get a little hectic trying to find a specific one. Well, there's a command we can use for that. Find /home-name puppies.jpg. With find, you have to specify the directory you'll be searching in and what you're searching for. In this case, we're trying to find a file by the name of puppies.jpg. You can specify what type of file you are trying to find. Okay, so this here is just specifying that everything is in the home directory. So inside of this folder, which is the case for most user-generated files, you can search for the name of the file probably with this flag here. We're going to try this. We're going to do find and do /home and search for the file in the home directory. Then we're going to add the flag name to it and are going to do this. And now it shows me where the file is, and it shows me that the file is in videos and downloads. And yeah, we see here that the file is there and there as well. So this also shows if you have multiple files with the same name. This shows the exact path, and if you then want to navigate to the file, you could just copy this, change your directory, and then do an ls, see the file, do cat, then just open the file. And yeah, alright, so let's clear this. With this here, down here we can probably find folders. You can see that I set the type of file I'm trying to find as D for directory, and I'm still searching by the name of my folder. This is a different flag here, so we have type and the type is D for directory and the name is my folder. Let's just search for the like folder. cd/home, and we're going to find inside the home directory type and D for directory, then name, and search for likes. And we found our likes folder. Change directory, go inside the likes folder, pwd, and we are inside. Alright, one cool thing to note is that find doesn't stop at the directory you are searching. It will look inside any subdirectories that directory may have as well. Yeah, we already saw that. Quiz. What option should I specify for find if I want to search by name? Going to just do name. Correct answer, continue. Number 15, help. Linux has some great built-in tools that help you understand how to use a command or check what flags are available for a command. One tool, help, is a built-in bash command that provides help for other bash commands, for example, echo, logout, or print working directory. Help echo. This will give you a description of the options that you can use when you want to run echo. For other executable programs, it's convention to have an option called --help or something similar. Let's try help echo actually. Help, and then we're going to do echo. And now what do we see here? Write arguments to standard output. Echo interprets the following / escape characters. Okay, so let's try this. We're going to do echo subscribe. Then we're going to do / and do like. Okay, so I don't know why this didn't work. I thought this would just create a new line after. Maybe I also did something wrong. I don't know. But this help command will help you to find whatever you're looking for. Okay, we can also do help print working directory. Print the name of the current working directory. Print the physical directory without any symbolic links. I don't know what the difference is. Okay, so we did that now. Not all developers who ship executables will conform to this standard, but it's probably our best shot to find some help on a program. Okay, and if we do help ls, this doesn't work. You probably have to use this here, ls -- help. And yes, it works, but what does now determine which of those two you have to use on a specific command? Or are these ones like ls not built in bash? This one has a lot of flags. Actually, continue. Man. Aptly named man packages. You can see the manuals for a command with the man command. So we can try this here with ls. So man ls. What do we have here? We have the name, list directory contents, description, it lists information about the file, current directory by default, -a. All which we already had. Okay, so this just shows me every flag there is. So actually I think this is a really good overview of what a command does and the description here and all the flags there are to it. Man pages are manuals that are by default built into most Linux operating systems. They provide documentation about the commands and other aspects of the system. This is actually really helpful. So let's do the quiz. How do you see the manuals for a command? You do man. Check answer and it's correct. Continue. What is or what is? I don't know. If you're ever feeling a bit doubtful about what a command does, you can use the what is command. The what is command provides a brief description of what a command line program does. So we can do what is cat. The description gets sourced from the manual page of each command. Okay, so this is just like a shorter version of the man command. Yeah, we already saw the description that we had in the man command. Let's just try what is and do cat. Concatenates files and prints the standard output. And what is ls? Lists directory contents. Okay, this is a really short description. The description in the man command was more detailed. This is really helpful if you don't really know what a command does. Quiz. What command can you use to see a small description of a command? Check answer and it's correct. Continue. Only 2 commands to go. Alias. Sometimes typing commands can get really repetitive, or if you need to type a long command many times, it's best to have an alias that you can use for that. Create an alias for a command. You simply need an alias name and to set it to the command. Okay, so instead of that you have to type ls-la, you only type foobar. Why don't we try this? We're going to do alias, then we're going to do sub, to set it to ls-la, and then I can type sub. And it just lists everything. That's really cool. But does this work every time? So when I close the terminal? Probably not. And open the terminal again and then do sub, it won't do anything. Okay, keep in mind that this command won't save your alias after reboot. I should have just read the text further and I would have known it. So you will need to add a permanent alias in. Okay, you can make a file for that. Or similar files if you want to have it persist after reboot. You can remove aliases with unalias command. So we're going to do the quiz now. What command is used to make an alias? Alias, continue. So now we're at the last page here and it's exit. Well, you sure did a good job getting through the basics. We've only scratched the surface. Now that you've learned to crawl, in the next set of courses I'm going to teach you how to walk. To exit from the shell you can use the exit command or the logout command. So I can just go in here and do exit and it will close. Now we're going to try the other command as well. Logout, not log and shell. Use exit. Okay, and we can type exit to exit the shell. Okay, we did the command line course here, so the basics of the terminal were easier as I thought they would be. But yeah, if you like this video and want to support my channel, just subscribe to the channel and like the video, turn on the bell so you get notified in future videos. And if you want to see a part 2 of this where I do the advanced stuff in the terminal, just drop a comment below. See you in the next one. Bye.